All right, guys, what is going on? So I've taken a trip over to the Reddit a couple days ago, apparently 4 days ago, and came across a post that I kind of want to talk about. I don't do a lot of discussion videos here on the channel, but I feel like there's always a time and place. This post has negative karma, which we'll talk about as well. So it is from JPie. JPie is a homie. Anything I disagree with, nothing against JPie. Amid his performance at an all-time low, what happened? I don't know that it's at an all-time low. I wouldn't agree with that, but let's see what JPie has to say. Quote, nerfed on-hit items, while the standard build for carries after the nerf are the exact same items. Multiple buffs to Quang patch after patch, where's the love for other characters? Clear favoritism. Somehow, they are cautious and reserved when balancing the game now. Where was this caution prior to point 18? Matchmaking feels worse than it has ever been, but at least we have some skins that cost an arm and a leg. What happened, Omega? It seems you guys are losing your way. It's sad to see. While I do agree with, I get where JPie is coming from to an extent. I think a bit of it is not exactly accurate. Nerfing items, JPie doesn't like the caution that we see with the nerf to on-hit items. I think the nerf to on-hit items was good. I do think it wasn't enough, unfortunately, but it was a step in the right direction. Multiple buffs to Quang patch after patch. This I can't really justify. We're going to go through the comments and talk about stuff too. I'm going to talk about Quang a bit more in detail. I don't know if it's clear favoritism. I think Omeda's balance team is just a little suspect. How cautious they are reserved with balancing the game now. I think Omega always has been, haven't they? I mean, how many nerfs did Steel get before he finally wasn't the best offlaner, right? That's honestly one thing that I like kind of praise Omega for, is that they do this like they'll do like softer balancing. Mind you, I preferred this when it was on a 2 week basis, not a 3 week basis. I think being stuck on a patch for 3 weeks could be a bit rough when a character is good for, 3 patches, 4 patches. But I do like this approach of let's not over nerf or over buff things. Like High Res did this a lot with Smite, where they'll just hot water, cold water characters and items, so the item will be insanely good. Then they'll nerf it to the ground and it's completely useless. Some people like that approach because it drastically changes meta. I think that that when you minorly adjust things until it gets to the point where you're comfortable, then it ends up creating a better meta, a healthier meta, and ultimately more fun. But I understand why people would prefer one approach over the other. Matchmaking feels worse than it's ever been. That's probably just bad luck. Like, matchmaking is objectively better. Skins that cost an arm and a leg. Yeah, I agree, and that's something that I'm gonna talk about when I go down to my own response to this or to this whole post. I'm just gonna scroll. I haven't read all of the new comments, so let's just go through. What happened, Omeda? It seems you guys are losing your way. Nothing happened. Always has been like this. Correct. Yeah. Omeda's always been shooting themselves in the foot with balance, development time. Basically, every aspect of development, Omeda has shot themselves in the foot. Now, again, when we get to my comment, we'll talk about development time. J Pyro responded, perhaps you may be right. Never before has Pred been further away from being a MOBA. I mean, carries are online with one item. That's not exactly true. I think carries come on at 2 items. With Sparrow, like, sure, Stormbreaker is good, but you're not doing that much without Sky Splitter. TB when you're building the on-hit build, Sky Splitter Kingsbane, like, he gets online around, like, second item, but, like, really comes on third with the Kingsbane, right? Grim, you're seeing getting tainted rounds, so sometimes Grim doesn't come on till, like, well, the tainted rounds is actually a really big spike on Grim, so Grim is, like, 2 item spike, but I would not say Grim is, like, a menace at 1 item. I don't think any of the ADCs are. I don't think it feels less like a MOBA, it just feels shittier. Okay, Bookworm. I really, really want people to think about the way point 18 was handled and how poorly 18.3 or point 18.3 was in addressing clear, obvious issues a balance means for the future. With their patch cycle, the earliest we might be able to have tanks be brought back to a semi-competitive state is going to be on the next content patch, a full month and a half after point 18 dropped. That if they actually do a large rebalance during a content patch, which is 50-50 odds. So best bet is a month and a half in the absolutely wrecked meta after point 18 and possibly 2 or more months. I mean that time frame is kind of drastic. We just got a massive content patch, which was obviously a massive balance patch. Now that was a forced thing. And then point 3 was also a massive balance patch. Some things went in the wrong direction, some things went in the right direction. Uh, but it was a massive patch, so Meta shows that they are capable and are willing to do massive balance passes. Was it a good idea? Apparently not. So we'll see when tanks. I mean, tanks like steel. I mean, we're talking about tanks not being viable. People are picking steel again. Steel is seeing success again. Rampage got a little buff. Tank junglers in general got a little buff. You can afford to be a bit tankier than you were before. I still think it's not the way. Quang is the best offlaner, and it's not particularly close. They did nerf Aurora. I think tanks are like not super better, but mildly better. I think Steel's pretty underrated by the community right now. I mean, I've talked about ideas they want to explore with fundamental game changes they would like new actives and potion slots, or similar things to league runes, etc. in the past. I think it should be genuinely worrying that the turnaround on fixing massive, blatant, screaming issues of balance when they decide to make fundamental changes that we know are already planned and coming is going to be months of playing on broken patches. Again, I don't agree that they didn't try to change it, or try to fix issues. I think they did to an extent. I guess there's the jungle XP issue, but they sped up the clear in jungle. Whatever. This is a live service, supposedly competitive game with ranks and release. Yeah, release in quotes. This is not a stated development philosophy that should be encouraged. I agree. To refuse to do sweeping changes for like a year and then do them anyway instead of immediately reverting back to tiny changes. Pick one or the other. Don't drop nukes on the meta, then drop a patch 3 weeks later that gives Richter 1 extra armor baseline after you took 30 armor off of everyone a patch before. I think this is like a really, really bad approach to this. So you're saying basically what you're saying is either exclusively do massive patches or exclusively do small patches. So what you're saying is when they added a whole new item slot and had to rebalance the economy and had to rebalance items and put in all these new items, that we shouldn't have mass balanced characters as well. Obviously they fucked up. Obviously either internal testing didn't do a great job or Omega didn't do a great job of listening to internal testing, because this was a massive fuck up. But regardless, I think it's stupid to say that like, oh, we took away 30 armor off of Richter, so when we only give him 1 back, that's not okay. What if he only needs 1 back? You want me to give him 20 back for fun? I don't know. I think Richter is perfectly fine in support. I think he would be fine in jungle if jungle wasn't shit. I actually think he's like kind of viable in jungle now with the buffs to his clear and the nerfs to jungle HP scaling. I think Richter's viable in jungle now. Still not great, but viable. It's genuinely disheartening that a patch where they took baseline armor nerfs to both kits and items while simultaneously giving damage a full extra item worth of damage stats with no modifications. What? It's genuinely disheartening that a patch where they took baseline armor nerfs to both kits and items while simultaneously giving damage a full extra item worth of damage stats with no modifications made to on the release stage. I could even defend point 18 if they actually took steps to address this in a timely manner. So one of the biggest items that people complain about is Sky Splitter. Sky Splitter, I think Omega just sucks at math. They took the second passive off of Sky Splitter. So when we're talking about damage items becoming better damage items, right? And armor items objectively got gutted across the board. Whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, it happened. Then if you look at every single pen item lost pen to kind of mirror this armor decrease, right? Is it 1-for-1? I actually don't remember off the top of my head, and I don't have patch notes pulled up. I'm kind of just going into this freehand. But in my opinion, for the most part, the pen to armor conversion felt virtually unchanged. When we get to an issue where we talk about Sky Splitter, Stormbreaker, but while Sky Splitter lost its second passive, they put the 1%. So Sky Splitter on 4th auto would do 5% max HP, right? It was 5%, and the autos were doing 4. And then they removed that second passive and then just made the autos 5. It was what you ended up with 1 less percent max HP, I think. I may be mathing it wrong now. I used to have this all in my head. It was Sky Splitter became a better item. Like, people were like, initially it was like, oh, it's so shit. And I'm like, well, like, just do math, dummy. Sky Splitter's a better item, like, objectively. I don't know if that was intentional or Omega just sucks at math. Like, and just can't figure out how items do. But that was unfortunate. They have since nerfed that item. They have since nerfed Stormbreaker. Both those items probably worse. Like we can't say that they haven't been addressed, right? Yes, on hit still insane. ADCs are still insane. But to say that they weren't addressed in a timely manner, they were addressed, just not enough. I just think we're missing the mark, not we're missing the idea. But anyway. 18.3 had 3 baseline armor buffs. 2 of those buffs went to fucking ADCs. Tank's first entire full item is solely bringing them to armor levels pre-.18. Yeah, okay. They had baseline. Meanwhile, ADCs got baseline power buffs in .18. Their first item initially makes them stronger than pre-18. That is absolutely tragic of epic proportions, and they have the nerf to buff ADC crest last patch. Excuse me? Yeah, the ADC crest buff was questionable. I don't know why when ADCs are too strong across the board, where we're going, let's nerf all the items, we need to buff the crest. How about we nerf all the items, and if ADCs feel a little underwhelming, then you buff the crest? Because the crest did kind of suck, don't get me wrong. But don't just buff it because like it's something you're forced to build. Like as an ADC, they weren't like going Ortis, right? ADCs were still building the ADC crest. There were some Grims building fighter crest, whatever. I still think fighter crest Grim's kind of good. You know, TB's building Ortis, but that was happening before .18, right? So I just don't understand. I don't understand the buffing of the ADC crest. It's not like you're bringing a new item into the meta. You're just buffing ADCs effectively for fun. No one's really running it jungle right now other than some Sereths, but like I argue that's incorrect. You should just be building the fighter crest. Anyway, let's continue. The reflex to just copy League when they're out of ideas is very concerning. At what point should someone just go play League instead? Never. This League of Legends is a top-down MOBA that like a lot of it's just like point and click. Get mad, League fans. Oh, Predecessor is a third-person shooter action MOBA. It's like a completely different game within the confines of a genre. I agree. Also, objectives are not balanced alongside major changes. They were, again, poorly, but they were. It's hard to call this a MOBA where objectives can be soloed early to late game and melt like butter. But they already could be before .18. This is nothing to do post-18. They were balanced. You can go check the patch notes. Jungle bosses were balanced alongside .18. The issue being, they were already shit going into .18. They just kept them shit. They took the boss out of Jungle they took the boss out of Jungle Boss fucking .15 or some shit like that, where they like completely gutted every Jungle Boss and they just make them weaker. I don't know if they actually are weaker in this patch compared to last. I think it's that ADCs are a bit too strong, and Chimera's been nerfed since. Chimera was also a bit too strong when .18 dropped, just with how much health regen. Buckler helped him a lot. New Draconum helped him a lot to be able to solo objectives super easily. I don't agree with this. I agree with the idea behind it. I don't agree with the fact that this is like a thing that is happening now. I guess Tracy was the one that responded. I agree with the itemization part. Doesn't matter which ADC, everyone builds the same on-hit items as before. and it's still better than crit even after the nerfs. Well, we also nerfed crit for some reason. I'm not sure about that one. Why we just took 10% of the way the bonus damage from crit. I think that was a bit goofy. I only play Brawl mode, and I understand how on hit outperforms crit even in that mode where you get items faster. Crit simply sucks. I don't get this idea where on hit has to be worse than crit late game. I never understood that, where people had that opinion. Like, as someone who played Smite for 9 years, I've never felt this idea that like crit is just like you have to be this just god that kills everything late game, and on hit couldn't possibly be allowed to match that. It's like, well, why not? Why not though? I never understood that, why crit has to be better than on hit. Just once you get past like 30 minutes or whatever. I've never understood that. It's strange that before .18 crit was the only viable path for ADCs except for Twin Blast. That's just not true. Crit was good for them, was better for the most part. Also, if we're saying before .18, the entirety of before .18, that would also not be true. Also, saying except for Twin Blast, it was better on Sparrow 100% of the time. At points, it was better on Kira. Weird. I don't know. Suitable Nobody says patch 18 changed a lot of things with 6 items. So many things were shifted. The balance definitely was going to be impacted. Patch 18.3, the first iteration of a balance pass, making mild adjustments before dropping hammers everywhere. There were so many changes that making so many more changes would throw a wrench in everything and bog the data down. I don't agree. Make a small adjustment, test it out, just like seasoning a meal. I do agree that that's how you should do it. I don't agree that it would bog data down. Pricing for skins is actually non-issue, is implementation that feels jippy. To an extent, I agree. Mostly, I agree with this last statement. The pricing for skins isn't actually that bad. It's just like, when we talk about... Here, I'll boot up Pred, actually. We'll come back to the skin thing. I responded to this one, actually. The issue is that patch .18.3 was so blatantly awful. Buffing Quang, not nerfing Muriel, the Grim adjustments. It's clear they don't have a grasp on what's going on. Apparently I have -3 karma for this. Tell me you're low elo without telling me you're low elo. No offense, but Muriel needed a nerf question mark? For what? She got a nice and needed boost to her shield potential in .18, and there's options to mitigate her potential for that with items like Demon Edge and others. There's 2 items, and you typed in others instead of typing in the one other anti-shield item. Yes, there are 2 anti-shield items in the game, one of which is actually good. Astral Catalyst is actually a good item. Demon Edge sucks, and it feels like ass to build. Regardless, that doesn't mean that Muriel's shielding and her ability to be a global presence isn't incredibly overpowered. And the fact that she has all of this with the ability to outtrade most other duo lanes. I almost said carries. It's not. I misspoke. Because they buffed her damage as well, for some reason. Her objective shred is insane because she herself does a lot of damage, and she can buff her ADC's attack speed or her jungler's attack speed. Like, how can you be one of the best lane trade supports, have global presence, thus you are also one of the best split pushers, you're one of the best objective shredders, and you have so much shielding in your kit that whenever I fight you, even with an anti-shield, if I don't have an anti-shield item, it's you basically have to kill a character 3 times to kill him, or if you have a shield item, you basically have to kill them twice to kill them. I think Muriel is the worst designed character. If I could remove one character from Predecessor, most people are saying FaZe, I'm saying Muriel. Perhaps it's not Omega that doesn't know what's going on, and it's the players that don't know what's going on. Oh, sorry. Quang is an underrated character. I hardly even play against him to even know if he's good or not. That's because you have to rely on what you see rather than what you know. You know, like, saying that you have to see a character play to know whether or not he's good, when you could have even seen that going into .18, Quang was overperforming. Then post .18, yes, Fire Blossom got nerfed, but they giga buffed the shit out of his kit, right? How do you not think that Quang is good? He has the strongest CC in the game with the Tether knockup combo, completely absurd. He outtrades. He has a massive fucking shield. He has mobility. I don't know what you think this character isn't good at. Then he got buffed in 18.3. What do you mean? You don't need to play against him. Tell me you don't know how the game works. Like, it's cool. You don't understand. You're in low elo, you don't read patch notes, or you do read patch notes and the numbers mean nothing to you. That's fine. Don't argue with me and then say you don't know if he's good. How do you think he's underrated if you don't know whether or not he's good? Huh? That's crazy to me. I don't want to flame anybody, but Jesus. You just openly admitted to not knowing the game. Quang, I agree that Quang, I don't know that Quang is underrated. I think a lot of people, most relevant people, understand that Quang is incredibly good. He's probably a lot worse than low elo because people don't know how to build and they can't hit the skill shot. They also just don't know trade windows. So they see a Grux and they go, I can fight the Grux, and the Grux kills them. Perhaps it's not Omeda who doesn't know what's going on, and it's the players. You've admitted that you don't know what's going on. Who don't know how to counter item or even see which enemy heroes are the linchpin to the team's effectiveness. Games become much easier in offlane against the Grux if you know that Tainted Guard is a great counter to him, but if you didn't think of that, then he seems overpowered all the time. There's an example here. Grux is overpowered! He's the best berser in the game! His damage output's fucking insane! He has insane sustain! He abuses Sky Splitter and Basilisk and Gaia Greaves! They, like, you just listed an overpowered character that even when faced with Tainted Guard still outtrades most of the roster. I don't even think I read the entire response before I replied. Muriel is unfathomably busted, leagues ahead of other supports. Nearly every high tier player holds the same belief. A quote needed boost is laughable. Was she the best? No. Viable? 100%, especially in high level play. I don't. A needed boost? Muriel didn't need a boost. Muriel was fine. A slight buff was okay, but to say she needed it, I don't know about that one. We were gonna talk about the pricing of skins. Let's bounce back to that they feel a little jippy. So let's log into Pred here. This is 22 minutes. Oh shit. We're having fun. It's good to talk about these kind of things. I'll probably edit this down a bit. Oh, my PC's not liking it. There we go. I'll probably edit this down a bit. All right. So if we go to the store, right? So let's talk about... Oh, I didn't realize this wasn't part of the bundle. Let's look at Holy Grux Chimera. 800. That's totally reasonable, right? But I want the green one. Where is it? I want this one. Why can't I pay 800 for this one? Instead, I have to pay 1,700 for all four of these, which obviously is a pretty significant discount. You're getting one for free, and then some. Well, you're almost getting two for free, basically. Here's the issue. I don't want them. I want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. Listen, I'm lying. I do want this one. And now that I'm reevaluating the price, I might actually get this bundle. But, you know, say you only want the green one. You don't want these. So now you're buying two skins to just get this green one that you really want? That's crazy. Twin Blast. 2,400. Hold on, how much is that? That's 30 bucks. 30 bucks. Damn. For this? Shit. That's a lot. All right, that's a lot. 30 bucks. You're pushing it, IMO. And then you want me to spend more money so I can get the one that's my team's colors. I just want the P-Tap colors. I want this one. I would buy this skin if I could buy this one. I don't want this one. I don't care. I would like this one. I don't care about this one.
You get it? Because I got... Yeah, you got it.
I just want this one. But you want me to pay... Would we say it was 20 something bucks? 3,000. It's $30. You basically want me to pay 40, which isn't even a bundle I can buy, by the way. Like, I don't. That's crazy. It would, yeah. Let's like let's just say it's like $40. You want me to pay $40 so I can have it, but pink? If I buy this bundle, I'm only ever using this one. But guess what? I have no other way to buy this skin. So it's a little scummy. Where's like the pretty shitty one? Maybe we got, oh yeah, the bundle's gone. Damn. The bundle doesn't, or does it still exist? Now the bundle's gone. Shit. There was this. Okay, I'll go to the Sparrow. This skin is rad. This right here, this is my favorite skin in Pred current. Well, maybe it's the P-Tab color Twin Blast skin now, but this was my favorite color, my favorite skin in Pred. I think the red effects are really cool. I like this version more than this one, like by a significant amount, actually. To buy this skin, you had to buy it with this Kalari skin, which I think is fucking ugly as shit, by the way. Plus you get sprays, plus you get banners, plus you get fucking icons. This skin is 1600. The bundle was what, 5.5 or some shit like that? Maybe it wasn't that much, maybe it's a bit lower. But I'm like, brother in Christ, I'm not spending $60 on a Sparrow skin. Get a grip. You're just gonna give me all this other bullshit that I don't care. I'm keeping my fucking Richter icon with my Shinbi Wolf Mastery. The only time I'm gonna change off of Saint Rick is when I get a Shinbi icon. Like, it's super scummy and I hate it. I could have swore, honestly, that Blizzard got in shit for this, selling, quote, discounted bundles that have stuff that you can't buy outside of the bundles, but maybe I'm wrong. This is the first bundle that I was actually like, I kind of like the stuff. Like, the banner's cool, the icon's alright, even though I hate the skin, and the spray is goated. The skin's ugly as fuck, though. Awful skin. But you get the point. It's super scummy. Super jippy was the quote from Suitable. I 100% agree with this. Bookworm again. Why didn't they do this cautious data-driven philosophy for point 18? Because it was a massive rebalance of the game. Like, they had to do this. They literally said themselves that they wanted to avoid the riot special of nerfing a champion and their items in one patch and swinging huge balance adjustments. What do? Not only do they expect to break the design philosophy with both a 50% nerf to rampage healing, but they also nerf every single defense item in the game, which makes up its primary build path. But this comes in a patch where they didn't release a 6th item slot. No, they baseline nerf armor values across the board on both hero scaling and items, baseline buff auto attack scaling. They didn't buff base auto attack scaling, they nerfed base auto attack scaling. Oh, wait, no. Okay, maybe I'm no. Did they buff base auto attack scaling across the board? Maybe they did. And base damage for essentially every physical character in the game, and didn't balance down proper values on damage items. In the same patch, they did do that for tank items. They kind of did. They reworked, like, to say they didn't rework every item is just wrong. Like, it's just like, whatever, they missed the mark. If I would be okay with point 18 being missing the mark if you actually properly addressed it in 18.3. That's the issue, right? It's like, whatever. It was such a massive balance pass. Almost nobody's going to get that perfect. I guarantee you if Bookworm went and did the balance pass for point 18, Bookworm would have hard fucked it up. Where was this cautious approach when they changed multiple game-wide scaling and itemization systems all at once? When you add a 6th item and have to change the entire economy of the game, you can't do that. Why didn't we have a 6th item release, then a tank item global nerf if they needed it? And then a global stat rebalance instead of all at the same time, because it would have been shit. Just like, you have to understand that when you add a whole new item to the game, the whole economy has to shift, or you're never going to get that last item. And when you're changing the pace at which you get items, you have to change everything around that. Like, you can't just throw extra stats in just for fun across the board. That can be anything that players want, basically. It really does show favoritism or some very misguided intentional match length TTK based reaching, just like previous Paragon titles did before failing. Why is it tank items that needed to be globally nerfed with 6 items, but every major and physical item can still sit at the same power level. They're literally not. There is no way to interpret point 18 as them testing things out and making decisions based, or because they made the decision before it released and intentionally nerfed all armor values when the same was not true of damage. It was obviously a fucking terrible decision, and I really think it is uncharitable to expect a dev team would know what the outcome of point 18 would be when they took 30 plus fucking baseline armor off every single character in the game. In the same patch, they added an entire new damage item slot. It's an armor item slot too. I don't get this idea because someone else, I don't know if it's Bookworm before. It's not a new damage item slot. It's a new item slot. You can put fucking armor in that slot. Oh, what the fuck do you mean? It's not this here 6th item slot is reserved for damage. Only damage can go in the 6th item slot. Nah, you can put a fucking Gaia Greaves in there. You can put a fucking other armor items, Flux Matrix, Void Helm, Curus, Galaxy Greaves. I can only think of MR items. Stonewall, that's a physical armor item. You can put any of those there. You can put an HP item. You can put Raymond in there. Come on, we don't need the data to know what the results of that will be. It's common fucking sense. It's common fucking sense if it's a 6th damage item slot, correct, but it's also a 6th armor item slot. I don't understand that argument. That actually, I'm gonna downvote that because that's just, you're mad. Honestly, I'm sorry, Bookworm. Extort. I think the problem is that the focus is in all the wrong things. The major release in the last year have been the UI, presumably ranked, and brawl mode ? With all those things, while all those things are still nice to see, it still seems empty when there are many base game flaws. Make your game the best MOBA ever before you add things that don't need to be added yet. I think a casual mode was incredibly important. This game's reach is a more casual market. I'm highlighting this so I know exactly where I am. This game's reach is a more casual market. Console is infinitely more casual than PC. If Omeda's main target is PC, they're fucking idiots because they're never going to beat League and Dota. Basically, their main target is console. Their only competition is Smite. It's obvious. This game is designed and made to be played on console. That is the plan. Obviously, it's going to be designed for PC as well and be able to be played on PC as well. But the main focus, the main market's console. That's just the fact of the matter. Brawl mode is insanely important. We needed a casual mode, especially when we don't have a huge player base to have balanced matches. You're gonna lose a lot of players because they're just gonna get fucked on in normals. I think that was super important. I think the new UI was important because it was important for console. Ranked, that's a bit of player retention and like something that the community wants, but honestly, I don't think it was that needed. I'm happy it's here, so I don't want to say that. But yeah, make your game the best MOBA. I think having these things, the UI and brawl mode, are part of being the best MOBA. Why is there such a rush for ranked? According to Steam charts and SteamDB, they only have been 3K players in the last 24 hours. You're not counting anything that's going on console. Assuming every single one of those players wants to play ranked, that is still an extremely small player base. Except that more than 3K players are on PlayStation. Probably more than 3K players are on Xbox. You're not counting the few players that are also on Epic. There's not a lot, but they're there. Assuming that every single one of those players wants to rank, there's still an extremely small player base. Let's not even talk about the boosting and pre-made groups. The boosting and pre-made groups. Are we talking about for ranked? The game mode that you're only allowed to duo queue in? I don't know about that one, Chief. If you're talking about fucking grouping and stacking on pubs, yeah, you know what ranked helps with? Ranked helps stop that, turns out, actually. When people can fucking actually play comp, they don't care about their casual MMR anymore. The pricing on the 1,000 bundles, awful. I think there is a future for the game, but the number of players that are leaving this game is staggering. Please fix the game before focusing on the next unneeded addition. I disagree with the majority of this. So a bit has happened since the time of recording this video. Ranked has come out, and some news within PCC has come out revolving one specific team. If my mic sounds different, I've changed some filters in the time between recording the majority of this video and this part now. So I want to talk about
people leaving the game and ranked. So when we talk about people leaving the game, I forget who. I should reference the video, but I'm not, and I'm here. I'm already recording. Fuck it, we do it live. I think I'm gonna assume it was Bookworm that was talking about people leaving the game, and it's true. People are leaving the game. Longtime supporters are leaving the game. If you're in the PCC scene or the comp scene, you might know that the Professors have just announced that they're pulling out of PCC. The Professors are the most relevant team probably in Pred. If you know a team, you know the Professors. Soul Reaper, Six, Crazy Fool, Survivor, Nitro was the current team. Nitro, I believe Nitro, Six, and Survivor are all just not playing the game anymore. They came back and they decided that they don't want to play anymore. It was a team vote. They don't want to play at all anymore. Soul Reaper's still playing probably because the game makes him money, but he is very unhappy. Crazy Fool was the one who voted to stay. I've heard this all through Crazy Fool himself, live on his stream. If I get anything slightly wrong, I apologize. Like, none of this was like written down for me anywhere. Talking about Soul Reaper specifically, he is the poster boy of Pred in terms of like content creation and really at this point marketing, honestly, because the game is not really marketed. To have your biggest streamer that had kind of been supporting you, basically friends with Ace. Ace has basically leaked shit in his DMs, and the public knows that because Ace has said it in his stream. Ace hangs out in Soul Reaper's stream. It is the place I hear from Ace the most, is in Soul Reaper's stream. And now Soul Reaper is like putting Omega on blast because of this whole ranked situation and just how the game is being handled in general. Having someone like Soul Reaper turn against you is not great. Obviously, shouldn't have to say that because it is a viewer. Like, there is a relevant amount of people that watch Soul Reaper that then talk to people who don't watch Soul Reaper about Soul Reaper's opinions, and it creates this kind of like mob mentality kind of thing. It's not a great look for the game. It is what it is. I support Soul Reaper. He's a real one, voicing his opinion. You have people like Joe, yours truly, like the most positive person in the community. Also a well-known content creator, one of the bigger ones. I don't think he's really well-known for streaming. I just don't think he streams that much. And even he's voicing a negative opinion. And I don't think I've ever seen Joey voice a negative opinion. And it's all around ranked and this ranked window, and how some people just straight up can't play. Soul Reaper could only play like an hour or two on stream with the current schedule. It's kind of ridiculous. Ultimately, in my opinion, it's a joke. That wasn't the main focus of the video, but I did feel like it was relevant to slide it in. Ranked, at the time I'm recording this, is going live in about 14 hours? Yeah, I think 13 hours. I'll be playing this weekend. Yeah. Hopefully nothing else comes up before I finally get this video up. I've been taking my sweet ass time. Back to past me. Bookworm, we're going to have competitive, and we don't even have a way to make builds in the game. This discussion, LMAO. The first patch of competitive is going to be one where you can legitimately play zero tank, double, even triple ADC comps, and have it not only be viable but even preferred. It really is shocking that they decided to commit to ranked release when the game is in the state they left it after 0.18. So no one played Greystone, no one played Steel, no one played Quang. Fucking hello? My ranked games, Feppy and I played Quang jungle and fucking fragged. Like, I'm sorry, this is just, you're lying to yourself. You want to hate the game so bad that you are lying to yourself. Like, that's crazy. You can legitimately play zero tank. Like, yeah, you can. You're also not drafting Quang, I guess. Okay, have fun not having Quang. Like, the amount of people I steamrolled on Quang in ranked, day one. Triple ADC comps, that's fucking ridiculous. You are lying to yourself. Not only viable, but preferred.
And let's talk about this. There's apparently Adrenaline agrees. Yeah, builds. Facts. Need builds like Smite. Years now. Still no builds. 1 year, first off. Second off, at people who use the build feature in Smite, do you suck at the game? Do you just... Because we realize counter building is an important fact of the game. If you want to be good at the game, you should understand the game and understand counter building and understand items. If you understand all of this, then you don't need a fucking builder. And if your issue is that you don't remember the names of items, I question how you don't remember the names of items, because you should fucking know them, because you know how to counter build, because you're decent at the game. Stop this fucking pre-made build bullshit. If you go on omega.city and go, I'm gonna use this build, you're getting fucked on, because someone's gonna counter build you, or they're gonna pick a hero that build is not designed to beat. You're gonna encounter a Grux, and you're not gonna have Tainted Guard in your build, because your build doesn't have it in it. You're gonna get fucking cooked. Like, I'm sorry. This build shit, so fucking stupid. Don't put builds in the game, because they're fucking useless. They are useful for such a small bracket of, like, beginner players, where it's like, yeah, steal someone's build. It'll get you by. I fucking hate this. I hate this so much. Like, I never used this in Smite. It's such a shit feature. Holy. So you're telling me that every time a balance pass comes out, you sit there for 5 hours day one going, I gotta redo all my builds. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's crazy. Why the rush for ranked? Because according to Reddit, the game sucks, but there's no ranked mode, so they're making it because everyone cried about it. That's why the ranked is rushed. The community is powerful when it's a voice, and the devs will listen. No, they won't. It'll just be short-sighted as we are. The community, the devs have listened to us one singular time. Is there... Okay, yeah, this last one's mine. I'm going to elaborate on this a bit further, but I will read it word for word. And then maybe go in depth. So I responded. This is while I was waiting for the bus when I got off work. I mean, the biggest question mark is easily balanced. Credit where credit's due. Omega has picked up the pace with development speed, both with new modes, new items, and a whole rework of the game and UI. One thing that I preached about forever ago was that this is a live fucking service game. Omega, why are you so fucking slow? And I kind of still do feel that way about, like, the 3-week balance pass kind of thing. But they dropped, like, a metric fuck ton of stuff in these recent patches. So maybe the 3 weeks thing ended up being worth it. You know, we've scaled up our dev time here. Like, I have been quite thoroughly impressed with the development. However, with the good comes the downright awful. Bugs that have been in the game for over a year. I referenced the Shimby Wolf hitbox on slopes. If you throw a Shimby Wolf at a slope, there is a pretty damn decent chance that the hitbox goes through the floor, and you can't hit anything. Ridiculous. It has been in the game since Shimby has come out. It's never been addressed. What's even more annoying is I've brought it up with Omega. They go, we'll look into it. And yeah, it's been a fucking year, Omega. Where's the fix for the Shimby hitbox? I'm trying to think of some other bugs that have been, like, around for a decent amount of time. I guess Steel being able to ult through the floor. It's a rare one, but it does happen. Been in the game since launch. Literally since launch, because Steel's a launch character. Current unaddressed game-breaking bug for months, with Orb and Fang HP being visible while outside of pit. Yeah, this is a bad one. I can't believe we didn't fix this before ranked launch. If you die in pit while you can see HP, there is a fair chance that when you're dead, you will be able to see the HP, and when you respawn, the HP will be stuck on your screen, and you'll know. You can tell your jungler, oh, hey, 3k, or, 5k, 4k, 3, you can literally count your jungler in to steal a hunt, or you could count yourself in to steal a hunt. It's ridiculous. Absolutely horrible game-breaking bug, especially for a comp scene. Holy. Another one I mentioned, camps falling out of the map. That's still an issue where camps can follow the map, and then that camp is just gone forever. Jungle leashing being released half-baked, which is 100% true. I can't get over this. The fact that we Still haven't reworked minion AI, lane minion AI. I actually think I mentioned that. And the fact that we released jungle leashing, but you have to leash camps in such a specific way, otherwise the AI just breaks and can't path to you correctly. The 5 camp is fucking abysmal. If you try to kite some specific creatures of the 5 camp, they'll just sit in the camp and not move. Great. Red and blue not really understanding how to drop off cliffs when the camp is a fucking cliff. Right. The AI is awful and have to be cut in a specific way or the AI just breaks. Lane minion AI being so unfathomably bad since launch. Minions losing hero aggro for fun, never aggroing the hero, opting to ignore and just walk in a tower. Poor pathing, notably in mid, where they'll enter like T1 tower range and sometimes they'll like Tokyo drift and it'll actually stall out the wave a little bit. Skins being released in bundles full of shit I don't care about at a quote discounted price with no way to buy them outside these bundles. Amber still only has one use. Affinity premium tracks are still being pay gated months later with 0 updates, despite being told we would get a new currency to unlock them. Where is that currency? Can you at least give us an update? Why can't we get it for free yet, like you promised us? Lastly, balance is a total mess. As JPie mentioned, with ADCs and on-hits, notably Grim, he also mentioned Quang, jungle XP curve is a total joke and feels horrible. To be on level with laners in jungle, you have to play exceptionally well. We buff tanks by making their items cost more for some reason, Muriel not being tuned in the recent balance pass, while being undoubtedly the best support in the game, now that they nerfed Narbash. Narbash was, I think, on par with her, and then they nerfed Narbash and left her the same. Ultimately, it's frustrating because the game is fun and should be better, it's just being fumbled on the regular. Hopefully Ranked will see a clean release outside of the bugs that will be presented in the most competitive experience yet. And I think Ranked did go well. Maybe there was some stuff that I didn't know about. I know that there was a bug where at least one player was not receiving proper what was it called? Not LP or TP, but that's what it was called in other games, like LP. I'm just gonna call it LP. RP? Was it ranked points? I don't remember. It was Pinzo. Wasn't getting enough, actually. I think he was duo queued with Joe Yours Truly, and Joe Yours Truly was getting like double what Pinzo was getting. Well, everyone was getting like double what Pinzo was getting. Apparently it's been fixed, but... And then JPie responded, you mentioned so many bugs that are spot on and the devs have not been able to address them. With them being in the game for a year, I have to point... is at the point that I think it's due to incompetence. Sorry, I might have fixed bugs like Shibby Wolves and still ulting through the map, and I'll change my mind. I also am starting to think it's due to incompetence because Bellica's knockup has still been basically frame 1 since the launch of the game. And they say Ace himself in Storyverse chat has said it is not correct and that Ace himself has been looking into it. How have we gone literally 3 months since the day he said that to me in chat and she's not fixed? It actually has to be incompetence. It has to be incompetence. It has to. Like, do we just need to hire someone that's smarter than the rest of Omega? Like, no, like, I feel bad because I like some of the... I hate flaming the balance because I know Ray works on balance and I fucking love Ray. And I love a lot of people that work at Omega. But holy shit. God, guys, please, do something. And then Bookworm responded, I agree, point 18... And almost more importantly for me, 18.18.3 made balance a huge question mark. Just don't see how you can arrive at the decisions made in point 18. And then the worst part, respond to such an obvious error with what point 18.3 was. I can defend point 18 if they came around after 3 weeks and actually addressed the issues. That's my stance on it. Now I'm left wondering if we are forever on the verge of the meta being destroyed on a whim and then left burning and actively melting down for months with each exciting new idea for balance we have. With buffed tanks after taking them out back, we've buffed tanks after taking them out back and shooting them in the head. Buffing them at this point is taking the bullet back out of the head. I mean, well, yeah, that's fixing the problem. We still need them to be stitched up. Okay, I see. We still need them to stitch up the wound and help them to their feet. Meanwhile, they give across the board ADC buffs on Crest and make baffling decisions to nerf Stonewall and Warden's Faith passive. There are 3 baseline armor buffs in the last patch, 2 of which went to a fucking ADC, while the third was a singular armor point for level 1 for Richter. Genuinely, how can a reasonable person defend something like that? A balance is honestly a travesty at this point, that making comparisons to the end life of Paragon balance is actually apt now. which is pretty worrying since this is also supposed to be the patch that launches competitive in Predecessor. I think we're over harping some aspects of the balance pass. It is what it is. Everyone has different experiences, I suppose. I think Bookworm is making himself hate the game more, themselves hate the game more. But it's a good discussion to have. I feel like a lot of people here could have delivered what they said better instead of just kind of shitting on Omega, because Omega has done some good, but they've also fucked up a lot. That was a long discussion. If y'all are still here, holy shit, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. I'm open to have discussions in either like DMs or just comment down here on YouTube. If you're new here, like, comment, subscribe, all that. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. I'm Bears, in case I haven't already mentioned. There should be 2 videos on screen now. Give those a look. And while you're there, well, while you're at it, go follow me on Twitch. That's all for me. Bears out. Peace.